Let's go live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, great morning, fantastic morning. You woke up this morning, I woke up this morning, and we should give our Creator the glory, the praise, the honor. Yes, we are alive. We can see, we can feel, we can taste, we can hear, we can talk. For those who can. But to God be the glory, no matter what your circumstances are. If you are breathing, you are alive. And for that, I am grateful. Welcome to Perspective with Edwina B. Yes, the lady that Miss is cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, right? The perspective on the daily reflections of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family. No, I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but I've been a proud, grateful, and humble member for over 32 plus years. And if God chooses to wake me up on February the 23rd of 2023, we will be celebrating 33 years from addiction, from alcoholism, from prostitution, from stealing, manipulating, all of the behaviors that go with addiction. To God be the glory. And so as a result, I have been prepared to sit in front of you because I've utilized, practiced, internalized, evaluated, dissected the 12 spiritual principles that allows me to deal with anything on this earthly journey. Wouldn't you want to know more about that? Guess what? I'm going to give you my perspective. So, before we start, the God of our understanding, I've learned, wants us to come to him just the way we are. Okay? Just the way we are. And so I want us to settle down and breathe and meditate before we get into our discussion, right? And so when you come to him just the way you are, you'll see why I'm saying that. It doesn't matter because he knows your heart. But let's put our mind and spirit in the calm mode and to let everything go and escape our minds and our thoughts and whatever is prohibiting me for be attentive, paying attention, be present right now. And so we're going to play the instrumental version of my favorite song that speaks to why I am here today, and so are you. So let's meditate on this, okay? Here we go. All righty, all righty, all righty. This is why I wanted to pause and to give our Creator the honor, the glory, the acknowledgement, right? The recognition that he doesn't need, but he likes, right? And so when we come to our Creator just the way we are, Many of us, like myself, don't know who we are and am on this journey to discover who we are. And so on February the 22nd of 1990, I did not know who I was. But through that humiliating experience of getting high and doing all kinds of sexual favors with my only stepson, who was the same age I was, 34, and we were, just into our addiction. And when it gets to the family like that, wow. But when he proceeded to want to harm me, possibly kill me, I don't know. I ran from him, and as I ran, I saw the number of parked cars, and I got a flashback from my past of going underneath the bed when I was afraid, of going underneath the bed when I didn't want nobody to find me. I would go underneath the bed to play hide and seek, right? And so when that flashback came to me, I said, if I just get underneath that car, he can't get to me, right? And as I put myself underneath that parked car, only weighing 90 pounds then, my life flashed before me. How at the age of 34 did I get underneath this parked car? And this is when, after my life flashed before me, all the goals, aspirations, and accomplishments that went down the drain, here I am faced with trying to commit suicide, being raped, setting people up, being set up, doing all kinds of sexual favors for people, self-loathing myself, hating myself, wondering what is wrong with me. And while underneath that parked car, something took over me and I hollered out these words, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. And for me, that was my knee bowing experience that I cried out and confessed, I don't know who you are, but take me out this life now or show me a better way. And that's when I realized I needed to remove the mask. Yes. Yes. The mask. The mask. The mask. The mask. The mask. The mask. I remove the mask. And I say, God, take me as I am. I want to find out what's wrong with me. And I now know that was the wrong question. The right question should be and is, what happened to me and people like you? All right. So that's why they call me Miss Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, because I take off the mask. Cocaine and alcohol took my teeth. Yes, they did. But recovery gave me some dentures. I think this is my second or third set. But removing the mask, I am not my wig. I am not my makeup. I'm not even my teeth. I am just the vessel that the Spirit of God placed in me, and to come to Him just the way I am. I'm using these for articulation, okay? But if I can take this off and these out just to show you that I want to be as transparent as possible, helps me to be a messenger of the 12 steps, spiritual principles, and incorporating the 5 agreements. All right. So let's get into our topic today, which of course is the daily reflection. All right. So let me put it up, and y'all know that I'm going to read it first because I want y'all to hear. And then I'm going to read it again because I want you to listen. All right. So this is January the 5th, AA Daily Reflections. The title is Total Acceptance, right? And we want you to go to aa.org to do your own research. But the daily reflections, total acceptance. And I will be including the 5 agreements of being impeccable with your word, Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best and be skeptical, but learn to listen, right? And so the Alcoholics Anonymous quote for today's reflection is: we cannot picture life without alcohol. Someday he will be unable to imagine life either with alcohol or without it. Then he will know loneliness such as few do. He will be at the jumping off place. He will wish for the end. AA page 152. And the alcoholic in recovery shares his perspective. Only an alcoholic can understand the exact meaning of a statement like this one. The double standard that held me captive as an active alcoholic also filled me with terror and confusion. If I don't get a drink, I'm going to die. Competed with, if I continue drinking, it's going to kill me. Both compulsive thoughts pushed me ever closer to the bottom. That bottom produced a total acceptance of my alcoholism with no reservations whatever, and one that was absolutely essential for my recovery. It was a dilemma unlike anything else I had ever faced, but as I found out later on, a necessary one if I was to succeed in this program. Huh? Total acceptance. Total acceptance. Total acceptance. Let me give you some examples about things that we must have to accept because it's common sense. I have to accept the weather that's going to be produced today. I have to accept the fact that the sun will rise and it will set. I have to accept that I am who I am right now. I have to accept my gender. I have to accept my race. I have to accept my culture because that's where I am presently. I have to accept that I just missed the bus. I have to accept that you said no. Total acceptance. And in recovery, we use the serenity prayer that helps us to put that in perspective. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And when it comes to human beings, we say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that that person is me. So let's go back to the reading, right? It says here, I want y'all to focus on that, not me, all right? Total acceptance, right? And it says, we cannot picture life without alcohol. I was one who did not think I was an alcoholic. I was one who, like many of us, started with social drinking and partying and getting the stress off me and hanging out here and there. But as my unknown disease progressed, I thought I would die as an alcoholic, as a drug addict. So at the point of that time when I put myself underneath that parked car, I could not live without alcohol and drugs, and therefore I wanted to die because I couldn't see myself living without it. Then someday he will be unable to imagine life either with alcohol or without it. Why is alcohol a central point, right? Why do I think I need it? What do I expect when I don't think I don't need it, right? So he will be unable to imagine life with or without it. Then he will know loneliness such as few do. He will be at the jumping off place. He will wish for the end. Underneath that parked car, I'm telling y'all, woo, I was taught that God was a punishing God. And I believed at that time, to the essence of my very soul, that I was done. After trying to commit suicide several times, right? And so when it says here with the alcoholic who states, and this is where I'm going to interject the 5 agreements, right? It says only an alcoholic can understand the exact meaning of a statement like this one. We who have a common denominator, which is alcoholism, drug addiction, and the lifestyles and the behaviors and attitudes and ideas that go along with it. Those who have been there. And I'm going to demonstrate that all of us have been there in one degree or another, because all of us are addicted to something. In my case, and over 3 million, we know that we were addicted to alcohol and drugs. So we understand one alcoholic understanding another alcoholic. He goes on to say, the double standard that held me captive as an active alcoholic also filled me with terror and confusion. And this was the dilemma, y'all. If I don't get a drink, I'm going to die. Competed with, if I continue drinking, it's going to kill me. And when we reach that point of like, total despair, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? But both compulsive thoughts pushed me ever closer to the bottom. That bottom produced a total acceptance of my alcoholism with no reservations whatever. Let me stop there. Using the first word, be impeccable with your word. Underneath that parked car, I said, take me out this life or show me a better way. That's what I want. I mean what I say what I mean. Take me out or show me a better way. I no longer want to sin against myself. I want help. I want to stop hurting myself. If I can't, take me out this life or show me a better way. Okay? And so it also says with no reservations, whatever. Okay? Now, being impeccable with my word has shown me I needed to think about what I used to say to myself when I went into rehab for crack. But every time I wanted to stop smoking crack, I'm not going to smoke crack anymore, right? I'm just going to drink. But I didn't know that was a reservation, because every time I left rehab and celebrated my recovery from crack, I celebrated it with alcohol, and alcohol took me back to crack. I was not being impeccable with my word. And so I had to pray to God to take away any and all reservations. I'm impeccable with my word. I don't want no reservations, whatever, to make me go back underneath that car. Remove them. I do not want to sin against myself anymore. I want to be impeccable with my word of surrender, total acceptance, and be able to stand up for myself with the help of the God of my understanding. Then he goes on to say, okay, and one that was absolutely essential for my recovery. So let me read the whole sentence again. It says, that bottom for me underneath that parked car, which was spiritual in nature, physical, mental, I'll say the holistic approach. My whole essence was at the bottom. At the bottom. I could not go any further while underneath that parked car, my face was literally on the ground. But that bottom produced a total acceptance of my alcoholism, my condition, right? With no reservations, and one that was absolutely essential for my recovery. And if you remember the first few days we talked about, I'm a miracle, being alive, sitting in front of you today, being prepared to share my experience, strength, and hope and perspective, right? Not taking anything personally. The second agreement that people say, Edwina, you shouldn't be telling your business like that. Edwina, you're not going to make it. Edwina, you're going to drink again. Edwina. No, I'm not listening. I'm no longer listening. I'm no longer listening to what people say, whether it be good or bad, because it's from their own perspective, right? I had to be impeccable with my word and said, the God who created me, I want to take everything you say, show me personally, not what other human beings do, because their motive is different from yours. Then it also said, while underneath that car, right, and asking God to take me out this life or show me a better way, I could not make any assumptions. Because I did not know. I knew one thing, though. I knew that if I drank and drugged again after leaving that rehab, I would be put back under that car. I don't have to make that assumption because I know it's true. And the assumption that I didn't need to make what was recovery going to be like, right? And it says it's the absolute essential component for my recovery, right? Absolute essential for my recovery. Don't make any assumptions, Edwina. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally, right? Don't make assumptions. Be in the present, right? And with the fact of putting down the drink, I'm a miracle, right? Then it says first the foundation, okay, right? And then we talked about the next day, how it is important, right, to build that foundation. Right? And so I'm learning that with no reservations, and one that was absolutely essential to my recovery, it was a dilemma unlike anything else I had ever faced. Guess what? Underneath that parked car, let me ask you, what is your bottom? What was your bottom? Those who are caught up in the masks. In the mask. That's why I can take them. Listen, I had a wig for this day. I had a wig for that day, right? Huh? One day I'm Miss Hussy. The next day I'm Miss Professional. What? Who am I? Who are you, Edwina? Right? And so when we go to incorporate the first three agreements in agreement number 4, it says always do your best. Always do your best, right? And so when I am impeccable with my word, I no longer want to sin against me. I'm not going to take anything that anybody says personally, in, out, over, down, anywhere, right? Practice. I'm going to practice not making any assumptions because I don't know the truth. And therefore, I can always do my best at the present moment. And I'll give you a breakdown of these 5 agreements a little more, but let me keep going, right? And it says the last sentence, right? It was a dilemma unlike anything I had ever faced, but as I found out later, a necessary one if I was to succeed in this program. What you think? Almost 33 years later? I don't take it for granted. I thank God that for 32 plus years, almost 33, that I've been connected to my spiritual program. I've been connected to the fellowship of a 12-step program. I have been around and want to be around people who are practicing unconditional love, those who are practicing taking all the mask off, those who want to be true to themselves. Yes. And as a result of the spiritual principles, particularly step number 4, where we made a thorough and fearless more inventory of ourselves, I took out the statement of what's wrong with you. That's a negative statement. That implies that I think something's wrong with me. No, nothing's wrong with me. I need to find out what happened to me. Yes, what happened to me. And that step 4 gave me the information that I needed to practice learning, putting it into the perspective that will change the narrative of my perception, right? That will give me additional information, right? And so utilizing these 5 agreements that I was introduced to, right, just a few months ago, has helped me immensely. And so what I want to do is to share with you what the 5 agreements are in a little more detail, okay? So let's go here. The 5 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. It says, speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. That means when we say negative things about ourselves and we say negative things about other people, right? We are sinning against ourselves and we are sinning against others. So being impeccable with our word says, I no longer want to sin against myself nor against others. So we practice using the power of our word in the direction of truth and love. To the best of my ability, I am sharing with you from what I know right now that I'm discovering what the truth is. I'm discovering what love is. I had to unlearn what I thought was the truth in order to learn and seek the truth. I had to learn about the conditional love in order to learn about what unconditional love is. Okay, so let's go to agreement number 2. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Oh my God. Don't take anything personally. Oh, Lord. That is a big one. Because all of my essence has been contingent on what people think about me, what people say about me, how they evaluate me, how they praise me, what? But it's only based on their life, their perspective, their upbringing. Why should I let what somebody else think about me, right, affect me? And the author Miguel, he was like, yeah, the Toltec tradition is like common sense. It ain't that difficult. It's real simple, right? And so when I think about not taking anything personally, it helps me to keep the focus on what I need to believe, what I need to be, and how I need to be impeccable with my word. I believe I can. I believe I will. How about this? I will. I can. I don't have to believe it. I will. Because why? I am relying on the power that's greater than me. Right? Let's go to the next one. All right. This is the 3rd agreement. Don't make assumptions, right? Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. How many of us, all of us, make assumptions? I don't need to explain. You know what I mean, all right? And to come to find out that it was all in our head, it was all based on our own perspective, our own poison, and we really didn't know the answer. So don't be afraid to ask the questions, okay? And I got a couple more. No, I got a minute left. All right. And it says here, number 4, always do your best. If we incorporate agreements 1, 2, and 3, our best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and self regret. Do you get that? So if I want to be impeccable with my word, I'm not going to take anything personally, right? I'm not going to make assumptions, and I need to proceed all of that with the word practice. Then I will do my best. Okay. Let's go to the last agreement. All right. Okay, let's go to the last agreement. And it says, be skeptical, but learn to listen, or listen to learn. That's what it is. Listen to learn. Don't believe yourself or anybody else unconditionally. Use the power of doubt to question everything you hear. Is it really the truth? Listen to the intent behind the words, and you will understand the real deal. And so, in conclusion, agreement number 5, it says, be skeptical, but learn to listen. The spirit of discernment. All right. So if I go back to the original, reading for today, right? It will talk about the reflection reading, right? Where it says, okay, be and have total acceptance. I want to say, God bless you. Have a nice day and practice total acceptance, but use that serenity prayer to know the difference.